We're covering the latest in construction and refurbs around the Disneyland Resort, from the missing trees on the rivers of America to new closures on the way like the Matterhorn. Or how about the ones that have reopened? Mission Breakout at DCA. It was closed for about 10 days but reopened recently over the weekend. Not certain what it is that they were working on. I was hoping it was working on the elevators and getting all those functional. However, I stopped by on Saturday or Friday morning and noted that still just 2 of them were operating. Although this time it was Alpha that was operating and Charlie, but Bravo never opened, which was operating the last time we checked on the attraction before it closed. So at this point in the morning, it was still running just 2 elevators. That could be just a temporary situation, but it's also possible that they still have work to do to get those things working. The net result is a 75-minute standby wait time at about 10:15, 10:30 in the morning when I shot this. Speaking of attractions reopening, how about the Grizzly River Run reopened recently down the way? And I wanted to update you guys because although we reported that it reopened last week, many were asking about the geysers and whether or not the geysers had been repaired. Because we've seen them, they were obviously working on the rails and the bumpers and some new rock work. But what about the geysers? Well, what I did notice is that there was a lot more mist, I think, than we've seen in the past, is what looks to me to be more mist. Although I think it's supposed to be steam from the geysers, like when you're at Yellowstone or something. A lot more mist coming up out of the rocks than there was before. Although that was a thing that happened, it felt like there was more than there was before, but I didn't notice any geysers anywhere. And I was there for a good 10 or 15 minutes at least while shooting all this from various locations. Didn't see a single geyser. I'm getting the feeling like the geysers may not be a thing anymore, at least not for a while, because it's not like they're going to shut down Grizzly River Run again for a month or two to fix the geysers. It's going to be probably until next winter. If they try again, it won't be until next winter or this coming winter before they try again. But I will say that everything looks really, really good. The water looks cleaner, a little bluer. We saw them add some blue dye to the water about a month ago, and that's sort of seeped into the base color now, so that the water has a different quality to it, a different color. Like, here we go. This is a shot from, I want to say, maybe last September, where there's actually no geysers or any mist or steam coming up out of the rocks. And then from a bit later in November, there's the mist and steam coming from the rocks, but again, no geysers. I do think that what we're seeing today is a little bit more, and perhaps that is what they were working on this side of things during this update, but no geysers. We're in the neighborhood. Let's check in on Grand Californian. No updates happening still inside the actual lobby or the interiors of the hotel. I'm not sure you're going to see anything in there, but we do have walls up now at Hearthstone Lounge. Although the Hearthstone is still open, those walls are to separate what they're doing in the planter area to its left. The walls are up here. We saw them working on this. They were reseeding or resodding the area. They're putting in new soil. There's a lot going on here, and I believe this is for an expansion of Hearthstone. I think. I'm not positive, but I think that is what's happening here. And then obviously you can see the walls extend all the way up to the pool, but the pool is still open at Grand Californian. And there across the way is some of the scrim and scaffold you'll see on the DVC wing for Grand Californian. And then behind us, Storytellers is closed. Storytellers, the glass on those doors have been covered, and they're telling you that, hey, go to this other room inside the Grand Californian proper if you have a Storyteller's reservation. So it's open still. Before we do that though, let's check in on the exit or entrance from Grand Californian to DCA. Walls are up there. You can see that has been covered up. We'll check things out from the opposite side. Here you go. This is that hallway coming in from downtown Disney. And inside that room is in fact Storyteller's Cafe. People are having a lunch buffet with characters. There were characters in there. They're having a lunch buffet in what is normally a meeting hall. I walked by that room. It's on the way in as you come in through the exit of Bag Check at downtown Disney. I walked through that room like, what are they doing in there? Are they having a meal? It looks like a buffet. Sure enough. We'll go by there again. I'll try to do a drive-by. And then here you go. Here's a look from the other side, from the Grizzly River Run side of things. Walls are up, and as I predicted last week, they did officially lift up that scrim now, so we are unable to see anything that's happening back there, but the work is extensive. I was able to peek through a little bit, not with the camera, but with my eyes, and the work being done there is quite extensive. They're doing quite a lot there, and they are going to be installing new scanners, just like we're getting or got already at Downtown Disney and at the main entrances to Disneyland and DCA.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days, I'm going to have to make a video to celebrate the excellence, the amazingness of Grizzly River Run. In my mind just now, I'm thinking this is the best attraction at DCA. But then I thought Radiator Springs Racer, so I had to like temper that a bit. But it's the second best ride at DCA, and I have no doubt about that in my own mind. I easily the second. I mean, it could be even better than Radiator Springs Racers, but it's just not as popular. God, I love Grizzly. It's so good. Perfectly done.
Back in Disneyland, let's talk about an attraction that is closed now, right now. And not for a long time, though. Not for a long time. But Indiana Jones Adventure is closed. Walls are up, although I don't expect anything to be happening behind those walls. That's just a visual clue for people not to come in. No rides are being offered today. But I don't think they're working on the queue at all. And we'll see confirmation of that in a minute. I dare you to try to read this sign without saying it in Salah's voice. Welcome, my friends. We'll climb the eventual entry house in a little bit, but I want to get back to DCA to talk about stuff that is reopening. We've been watching them update the facades to Buena Vista Street, Elias & Company, and Scrim there. And you can see the new Elias & Company sign has been revealed, and it looks really sharp, actually. It looks quite good. Compare this to what we've seen previously. Looks pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. Image on the left is the before, image on the right. This is actually courtesy of Critter Club, who got these photos after they took the scaffolding down. And they compare favorably, although does that not look like they've lifted the letters a little bit more out above? It could just be the angle. But one thing I did notice was the window above the actual sign. Did they close that window or one of them? Because in the old image there, you can see the middle and right sections appear to be open. Plus, there's a definition for that middle window. In the current image, it looks like the left and the middle are closed or somehow, I don't know if that's permanent or temporary or whatever, but that definition doesn't appear to be there as well. So I'm not sure what purpose that has, but it's just something that I noticed visually. And then this Carthay circle across the way where they have gone into a new scrim here that represents or shows, the Carthay circle imprinted on the scrim. Looks nice. And there's your fake Carthay circle sign on the left. Nothing else to report here, though. Let's go back to Disneyland for another location that has opened since I was here in the park. I shot this on a Thursday, and the next day the tables were returned and it was open at the Jolly Holiday. Take a peek over these barriers, though, and everything looks to be about as it was. I mean, I think that they've just basically given it a makeover, a touch-up. There's guys actually actively painting here as we speak. So that's, my goodness, the paint will be just a day old when this dining location reopened the next day. Here's a look from the front and a proper entrance to Jolly Holiday. Everything looks nice and clean and fresh. Dig it. Tried to look at the shingles. It appears again here that these were just pressure washed and not replaced. And then from the far left side near to Refreshment Corner. Why do I feel like that wall right there in the middle frame? Why do I feel like that wasn't there before? I'm sure it was, but I'm just now like noticing it with fresh eyes perhaps. We'll do a little before and after here as well, where it looks identical. Even the color scheme, often they will change the color slightly from previous iterations, but this looks almost identical down to the actual color. But of course, there is the elephant in the room. That is the Jolly Holiday sign. We reported on this a couple weeks ago that they've done something to the sign. They've added this or replaced the old vintage sign that had the popcorn lights. They replaced it with this thing. That is still there. Even as of today, the new sign is still there. The old popcorn light sign, which you can see here. You can see the old popcorn lights there. And the bakery cafe drop down. That is not included in the new sign. I'm still holding out hope that this is temporary, if only because take a look at this image. This was captured by somebody on Twitter, and it's another night version of the sign. But in this case, what I want you to draw your attention to is the fact that the lights aren't evenly done. Like the O and the L have a much brighter quality than the other letters, as if to suggest that there's no bulbs there at all, actually. It's because it's the bulb itself that sort of dims the light coming out of the light fixture itself. So there's missing bulbs. That tells me that there are bulbs behind the sign, proper bulbs, not like a regular what is that, an incandescent light, but just, proper popcorn light bulbs. And meanwhile, the O and the center part of the O and the D aren't lit right either. That tells me that this is not the final form, I guess is what I'm saying. When I look at this, that's not the final form. The fact that those lights aren't right. This was presented as if to say, Disney, what are you doing? Why can't you get this right? I'm seeing this as a positive sign. I'm seeing this as an indication that they're still working on that, and they're using this temporarily while they figure that out, while they fix whatever's going on behind that sign. But I do hope they bring back the little drop-down bakery cafe as well. Stay tuned for more on the Jolly Holiday update. We'll be going there to have some lunch soon, and I'll try to get you some before and after, perhaps, of the interiors to see what's done inside as well. I do know that there's a lot of back-of-house changes that are happening back there that we probably won't be able to put the camera on, but we'll do that just the same. Meanwhile, and wouldn't you know, this just in, after wrapping our production of this report, we got this video from our friends at Theme Park IQ. And there you have it. The popcorn lights are still there. They are absolutely, definitely still there. This sign is just covering them. I feel like that 100% confirms that this is not the final form and that this is just a temporary situation for the Jolly Holiday sign. I, and those of you who are with me on this, can all breathe a very heavy sigh of relief on this. Now, forgive me, but I'd like to take a quick break from this construction update to let you guys know about Getaway Today. You may already know that they are our preferred vacation planner, travel agent for our fans who are looking to book a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World or more. Universal Studios Hollywood, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld, Legoland, you name it. And I'd like to think that we know them very well. We've met many of them personally, and we know how kind they are and how really tremendously good they are at their jobs. And that's why I'm confident in referring our fans to Getaway, because I am confident that you will be treated just as well as we have. If you're planning a trip to a Disney park or Universal or anything else of that nature, if you're planning a trip soon, use the link in our description so that they know that we sent you and so that we know that you were sent to them through one of our YouTube videos. And in so doing, you can be confident that you're going to be getting some of the best possible service from people who know everything there is to know about planning a trip to the Disney parks. Thank you for that. Let's get back to the show. I was in the neighborhood of the secret path on the Rivers of America to shoot this footage that I was getting for our other channel, Tours Departing Daily, a little ambient acoustic video capturing this delightful scene of the Mark Twain going by. And it brought to my attention once more the lack of trees. If we finish watching the Mark Twain and point the camera to the right, this scene, it just looks so much different than it did before. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And I wanted to show you guys like what I'm talking about, before and after. Times past, when you walked up to the secret path, you were just completely shrouded in big, full pine trees, among others, just big, full trees. And it actually created a bit of warmth and separation. It gave you a sense that you were in a different place than the rest of Disneyland. For example, let's get on the Mark Twain. This is from last year some point. And as we look to the left while we're on the Mark Twain, you can see how full those trees are. Every single one of these trees is gone. It's just incredible. Now, I should say, while we're going past here, I don't believe that this is a conscious choice by Disney, as if to suggest that they don't like trees or they don't like the scene. I think that something bad happened and they had to do this. And I'm hoping with that they can, which by the way, take a look, that stump down there, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. That stump was always there. Take a look at this new image. This is from a month ago after they've taken all the trees down. And you can see that stump. That was not a recently cut stump. It's always been that way, which kind of surprised me a little. I feel like I did know that, but I wasn't positive. But there it is. And there is that cut stump. But I feel like that there's something wrong, and I'm hoping that they're able to bring back some of this growth. Although I'm not completely positive, but I'm hoping they do. I guess what I'm saying is I don't necessarily blame Disney for this. I don't think this is something they're doing to the park with intent, like nefariously. It's just an unfortunate situation, kind of like the trees at Pirates of the Caribbean or the tree at Casey Jr. With that, real quick, let's catch up on some of the other smaller stories that are happening around the park. No change, no update at all on the main entrance. Walls are still up in front of Disneyland and at DCA, still installing those new turnstiles. Same walls are still up in the inside of Disneyland, in front of Floral Mickey, where they're still working on what I assume to be, where the light fixtures were along that path, and perhaps more of the concrete or brickwork that was on the ground. Still waiting for Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln to be updated with the new Walt Disney Story update on the sign here. Looks to be about in the same condition it was before. They have not yet replaced that sign. One thing, though, that drew my attention while I was shooting this is that there's going to be a time in the near future, gosh, this makes me excited, when the marquee poster out here, at least one of them I would imagine, where they're presently Frederick Douglass on each side, they might show an image of Walt Disney at his desk. That just makes my heart happy to think that Walt Disney is going to be a featured attraction on Town Square. You guys, that means so much to me. That means so much to me. There's going to be a marquee poster right there. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Okay, let's go to Adventureland. I want to give you guys a bucket update. This is a story that's been going on for like a year now. The buckets were doing really good. They were hanging in there, but they stopped working on this trip. No buckets operating at Adventureland Treehouse. I mentioned before about Indiana Jones. We did climb the tree, and looking down, I don't see them doing, there's no maintenance, nothing being done here as far as I can tell in the queue section or anything like that. What I'm trying to get a look at here is that little setup, the dock where the decayed boxes and generator are. I see nothing happening there. This is where we're going to be able to find out. I'm hoping that that's something that they're working on during this closure, though I think it not likely. They might wait until the Jungle Cruise closes before they do that.
Love of all that's good and holy, somebody please take that kettle off the stove, please.
Let's go to Raised Berets. This little small story, we've been keeping track of the grass on top of Raised Berets. It's growing nicely now on the front store-facing side of things. On both the left and the right, it looks like the grass is growing pretty well. It's starting to get kind of lengthy, full-looking too, for that matter. Not quite to the level that it was before when it was the Breuer patch, but it's getting more and more full. It won't be long before this, as long as it keeps growing, that it'll look even more lush. We'll go to the backside though, where that mystery path is. On the right side of the chimney there, things again look pretty good. The left rear side of Raised Berets is still having some growth issues there on the backside. And as I mentioned, there's still a mystery of what they're doing with this path. Nothing has changed here, but I'm just so very curious of what their plan is, or what is I don't know what's going on here. They haven't even painted the newly installed, that bleached wood, the white wood there. Okay, so they're selling, it's Easter season, right? And they're selling those Easter Bunny popcorn buckets, which is great. I mean, people love collecting those things. You can go up and get one at various locations in the park, including the Hungry Bear. But I guess they're feeling like people don't want to be bothered to go up to the Hungry Bear and buy, which I guess I understand. This looks really tacky. I just have to say, they're selling them on the trail that leads to Galaxy's Edge. There's even that digital sign. You can scan it to open up the app to purchase one, and then you do that. You purchase one via the app, and then they hand it to you. Like they can't process, you guys. They can't process the transaction here. They don't have like a Stripe or something like that. So you have to buy it on the mobile app, show them you bought it, I guess, and then they hand you one. I guess. I don't know. I don't like this. I mean, I feel like, it just takes some of the charm out of doing some of these things. And maybe I value that too much. I don't collect these things anyway, so what do I know? But I feel like you should be forced to go up to the Hungry Bear. You should be forced to go up to the counter and buy it in the proper place at the Hungry Bear, or, I don't know, wherever inside on Main Street or something like that. I feel like you have to. That should be required. There shouldn't be a shortcut to this. I know that they're trying to reduce friction points to create more sales, I guess, but it just looks tacky, and even if you're gonna do this meh table with a black covering on it, and the Easter bunnies are sort of randomly displayed. There's like eight of them. Put 30 of them out there. You know what I mean? Like, and stack them nicely. You know what I mean? I don't know why I can't get this really triggered me for some reason. Plus, this digital sign out in front of the Hungry Bear is just not working for me. Okay. Speaking of things that are not working for me, we back to the Big Thunder Trail. Just, because now that our radar's up on this, I feel like I have to check on it every week just to see what the status is. And I never would have done this before, and I maybe never would have noticed the fact that there was routinely trash in here. But now here we go. There's another water bottle, and I don't even know what that other thing is. Looks like an insole from a shoe, but there's a water bottle. Guys, can you try not to put your trash in the water? Can you try not to do that? And then there's a cap coming into frame here, over here on the left. There it is, a red bottle cap. I'm hoping that these aren't here next week. Golden Horseshoe, nothing new to report here. Scrim and scaffold up, paint and polish. I've tried to peek through. I can't tell what's happening on the other side. There's just a lot of staging and stuff happening on the other side of the walls. But again, my expectation is just like Jolly Holiday, new paint and possibly some new floorboards, perhaps, on the walking surfaces. Took a trip over to Sleeping Beauty Castle as part of our day there. We were shooting a lot of B-roll for our Tours Departing Daily channel for that video. But I happened to notice while I was there that the fountain was down. I'm hoping that's not permanent. That was a fountain that was installed as part of the 100th. And I was glad to see that they kept it around, but it was not operating when I was there. I don't know if that's a new development or not. But I also noticed when I looked across the little moat in front of the castle that one of the beautiful benefits of Snow White's grotto back, fully restored, is that you get to see Snow White there in her classic Snow White costume, greeting guests and making people happy.
Seems like nothing. To some, it seems like nothing. That is huge. What's happening again there in Snow White's grotto is a really big.
All right, now from here we'll go to the Matterhorn with perhaps our lead story this week, and that is that there's been a closure scheduled for the Matterhorn. It's supposed to close on April 28th. That's about a little over a month from now. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the Matterhorn, but I can say that this is, we've kind of predicted this. I've been waiting for this to happen. I've been waiting for the Matterhorn to close again. They do it maybe once, even twice a year sometimes. Ever since, we had that issue with the decaying interiors, they've been working on trying to, keep Matterhorn going. The Matterhorn is in kind of dicey shape. It's, a very old attraction, and, it wasn't built to modern standards. It wasn't built with modern materials, and I think they're doing the best they can. But so what they have to do every, for a month or two every year is to close it and put some duct tape, here and there and try to keep that thing going. However, I will say, I will hedge that statement. I'm hoping it's not a super long closure because the date given, April 28th, I don't think there's any chance that they would have this attraction closed when the 70th starts in May. So I'm guessing that this closure will be no more than about 3 weeks and that it'll be ready to go on May 16th. I can't imagine that they would start the 70th without the Matterhorn. That's, a silver lining on this. But also, I mean, if it goes longer than that, then it was unexpected. If the closure extends into the 70th, then they weren't trying to do this. That something has, that something is kind of urgent.
Boom, 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 boom.
So good to have the monorail back, which takes us next door to Pixie Hollow. Trying again. I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying. I keep looking. I keep hoping I can find something new. It actually, I can see better with my eyes than the camera can. I can see through the scrim a little bit. There's no movement going on back there. Nothing has really been changed. Everything is right where I left it, when I looked back there last. So there is some sort of delay happening here with the Pixie Hollow that was unexpected, unscheduled. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're waiting for something before they can install something. They need a part or something like that. But there's whatever it is that they're doing back there on the other side of that scrim has stopped. Changing gears to downtown Disney, boring ESPN zone. Nothing to report here. Earl of Sandwich. I mean, this looks the same as we've seen from over the walls. Same vertical steel there. Through the gap, we can see that they have poured some of the concrete, but there's still some rebar posted on the ground. It means they're getting ready to prepare or install or pour more concrete. Meanwhile, Tortilla Joe's is still Tortilla Joe's, on the outside at least. Looks like they finished doing whatever demo they were doing at that entrance to the building. Let's see if we can see anything developing over the wall and inside where the outdoor bar was. Get that camera in there. You can see, I think those are studs. I believe those are studs. And then you can see up into the ceiling again here, so they're gutting all of that inside. And then there's the latest for that exterior bar. I mean, it looks about like we found it last week. I did try though. Here's some fun. I took a quick stop up at the Splitsville to see if I could see anything there. The whole area was empty, so I could only stay for a second. But there's a quick scan of what's happening on the ground. You can't really learn much from there. And then finally, we're going to try to see what we can learn from the Pixar Pal Around backstage at Avengers Campus. They're building the new Avengers e-ticket, Avengers Infinity Defense. And there's a lot of activity back there. Moving about backstage, a lot of vehicles moving around, a lot of dirt, a lot of cones, a lot of sectioning things off. And there's this guy. I don't know what he's doing back there, doing his own little stunt show on the dirt. There's the latest on Mount Downey and Mount Downey Jr. Oh yeah, we're back to this guy again. I don't know. Such an odd sight to see that car driving around there. I've been told, it's been confirmed to me by multiple sources that the red car trolley barn is gone. Now, I thought we'd be able to see at least a part of it. Well, I should say, now I thought it was this forward-looking white building. I know the rear building back there, that bigger one, that's not the trolley barn, but I thought it was the one right behind the Avengers headquarters right there, but that building is still there. But I've been told, it's been confirmed to me, that the red car trolley barn is gone. So maybe it's somewhere behind that even, perhaps lower and smaller than that structure. Although looking overhead, nothing really sticks out as being a possibility. You'll recall from that image we showed last week that somebody shot from the airplane. That's the white building. That's the building that is gone. That's the red car trolley barn. Maybe it's been gone for more than a week. Maybe it's been gone a while. Man, that's tough. Okay, so by the way, while we're here, there's Luigi's, that curved white building there on the left third of frame. To its right, that's the path. That's the gate, which we're going to see in a minute. That's the gate that goes backstage as you pass by Luigi's on your way to Avengers Campus. So the angle that we're seeing there is looking at that dirt, right? It's looking at that dirt spot. You wouldn't be able to see, for example, the trolley barn there, no matter how hard you tried. I don't know if there's any place where we could have seen the trolley barn, but whatever the case may be, it's gone. And what we have looking at us today is that dirt. There's dirt everywhere, basically. And it looks like they've sort of opened up that whole space. There you go. Mount Downey and Mount Downey Jr. Those mountains have actually lowered. And I've also been advised that they have begun working on, the underground, the phase of the dirt phase, where they're working on electrical and conduit and perhaps plumbing or something like that, running all the different pipes and PVC and that kind of thing below grade, and that basically all of the concrete has been torn up and we're now officially in the dirt phase of construction here for the Avengers e-ticket, which means we might see some visible stuff happening here. We might start to see the Indiana Jones archaeological dig type phase coming up soon. Looking forward to that. And that is the wall that I was talking about. We can't see anything from there. With that, let's wrap up with an update on the refurb status of what's closed today or coming up closing at the Disney Resort. Great story, or Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Still waiting. Same story there. Small World is scheduled to reopen on April 25th. Closed right now, but scheduled to reopen on April 25th. Indiana Jones Adventure is going to be closed for about a month, also reopening on April 25th. No date given on the website for the Tinkerbell meet and greet at Pixie Hollow. It is now officially confirmed, no date. There was some doubt, there was some question as whether or not it might be open or not, based on previous statuses that we've seen online. But as of this week, there's absolutely no doubt that it's closed and will be closed until at least May. Wow. Guys, it closed in October. That's going to be 7 months. The Tiki Room, there we go. We got it. We got our date for the Tiki Room. It's going down for closure on April 28th. No date yet, but I'm guessing, again, this won't be any more than 3 weeks for the same reasons that we gave for the Matterhorn. But the Tiki Room will be closing on April 28th, same as the Matterhorn. And then over at DCA, Redwood Creek Challenge, closing, by the time you see this, it'll be closed. and then reopening on April 11th. Soarin' Around the World is closing for a couple days. That's just a changeover from Soarin' over California back to Soarin' Around the World when Food and Wine ends. And here's an interesting one. On April 28th, the Sorcerer's Workshop is closing with no known date coming back. Sorcerer's Workshop is closing on April 28th, as is the Anna and Elsa meet and greet, the Royal Welcome, closing on April 28th. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to have to ask around and see what you can't figure out. That's our show, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out our most recent State of Disneyland report for more updates about what's going on around the park, including a very special rant about the state of Disneyland, the literal state of Disneyland. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh bait.